Let's take a closer look at the range of Photovisual amplifier and Barlow lenses manufactured by Astro Engineering. First up is the AC710. This is primarily a 2x Photovisual Barlow. This is known as the Supreme Barlow range. It's got a very interesting feature under the hat here. If I just remove the dust plug, it's a nice chunky metal dust plug. I rather like that. We've got a screw cap here, so rather than a cross screw that you would normally get on a lot of the more common Barlows, this one actually has a screw locking system. Obviously it's to receive inch and a quarter eyepieces. They just slide straight in, and to lock it up we simply give that a tweak. It automatically centers the eyepiece, which is a nice feature of this collet locking system. It really is quite smooth and sweet to use, very easy. But take that off, take the collet off, and being careful to retain the collet on the inside, and we've now got a concealed T-thread underneath there. And we can take a standard T2 mounting like this one for a Nikon camera and simply screw that straight on, and hey presto, we can put the Supreme Barlow now directly onto a modern SLR camera, and bingo, we're ready to go, either a film or digital camera, of course. Obviously we've got an inch and a quarter fitting on the front here. Now you can see this black barrel where the lenses are at the front here. This contains a 3-element optic, so this is a absolute minimum false color optical system. We would normally describe this as an apochromatic optical system, or an APO. It's very well corrected. The optics are actually made in Japan. All the rest of the metalwork is designed and produced in England. Great thing about this little optical element at the front here, I don't know whether you can see that, but it's actually threaded for filters, which is quite useful, so you can actually put filters on the front here. But the back end is a filter thread as well. So we can actually add it directly to the nose piece of an eyepiece, just by screwing that straight on the front, like that. Or we can screw it straight onto the nose piece of a camera connector. So basically it will fit anything with a standard inch and a quarter filter thread. So that actually makes this very useful. Now when it's being used like that, it will magnify the image just 1.5 times. So when it's on the front here 2 times, when it's been added to a nose piece or the nose piece of a eyepiece, we've got an incremental value of 1.5 times. Now of course that really is a very useful feature, and it's worth bearing in mind that when you're adding it to an eyepiece, you're getting a nice gentle improvement in magnification, but at the same time, of course, you're preserving all of the eye relief and all that kind of thing with the eyepiece as well. So if you've got a favourite low-powered eyepiece, by putting this lens directly onto the filter thread, you can kind of convert it to a high-performance eyepiece. Worth bearing in mind that that's how a lot of the high-powered eyepieces work now. Instead of having ever shorter focal length optical elements in them, what it actually does is it takes a medium focal length eyepiece and Barlows it up, so the front elements are actually a Barlow lens in themselves, to give it that extra performance and extra magnification without losing the eye relief. I'm just going to take this apart again. It's very easy to reassemble. Simply take the T-thread off, put the collet back in place. That's actually acetal or nylon. It's a type of nylon, so you'll have absolutely no marring on your eyepieces or your nose pieces that actually go in there. So that's the AC710, 2 times and 1.5 times Photovisual Barlow, and of course that comes in a plastic bottle to keep it safe as well. Let's move on to the AC685, which is a 5 times Barlow lens. Again, this is another model in the Supreme range. We've got that same very chunky all-metal dust cup there, which is rather nice. We've got exactly the same screw thread collet system to hold inch and a quarter nose pieces in there, and of course the inch and a quarter eyepiece fits in lovely, and that's auto centering, of course, as well as we do that. But the most important feature, of course, is that underneath that collar we've got that T2 mounting thread again, that allows us to put the T2 mount straight onto it to provide a mounting for your camera. So camera can go straight on. Now when we're using 5x like this, it's a fairly common situation to be using it with small chip cameras. So this is an ideal Barlow lens to be using with things like webcams. So this is an ideal complement to a web imaging activity, a webcam imaging activity, finishing off with an 1.25" nose piece there, as you'd expect. We've got a little a retainer in there to make it a little bit easier and more likely that the thing won't actually become detached from the telescope or anything like that, which is a nice little feature. Really an ideal Barlow. Probably less important, I think, as a visual Barlow. The real design ethic with this one is for photographic purposes, and mainly photographic activity with CCTV and webcam imaging systems. So an ideal optic to use with small chip camera systems. While we're on the subject of webcams, that takes us nicely into the final one that we're going to look at here, which is the AC519. Been around a bit longer than the Supremes, and has probably got a deeper reputation for performance with webcam and CCTV images. Can still be used visually as well. We've got that same chunky cap on there, and a 4x optical system this time, designed very much with webcams in mind. And if you take a look at it on the internet, you'll find that quite a few people like Mick Hyde and others have been getting really good results with this product. Astro Engineering really conceived this as a challenge to the Teleview range of photographic multipliers, and that's its natural rival. But we think that for a high quality product, it comes to the market with a very attractive price ticket. Anyway, that's the AC519, and again, ideally suited for use with small chip cameras like webcams, closed circuit television cameras and security cameras, the kind of thing that's being used to photograph planets today. So that's the AC710 Supreme Barlow, delivering 2x magnification or with the 1.5x tip. The AC685 5x Barlow, with the T-thread underneath there as well. They're both Supremes, those two. And finally, we finished off with the AC519 4x Photovisual Barlow. And that's it for now.